Honorable, you repeat after me. We'll do the oath of allegiance. I do solemnly affirm, raise your right hand, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of a member of the National Assembly. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of the House of Representatives, I will perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, faithfully, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law and the rules of the House of Representatives, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objective and directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the fifth schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Honorable members, we have with us in the gallery today students, the Student Union Government from Bayero University, Kano. Please stand up for recognition. You're welcome. Honorable colleagues, I will not be closing or adjourning the House tomorrow with you, as I will be traveling to Osun State to deliver a very important lecture in Osun State on education. And for that reason, I believe I should make the following announcements today. First, to congratulate every single member of this House for the passage of the budget and the signing of the budget yesterday by Mr. President, and to convey his appreciation to every single member. And he says boldly, and I repeat boldly, he hopes and wishes that the harmonious relationship between the National Assembly and the executive will continue for the good of the people of Nigeria. He appreciates the time, the hours, the man hours, morning, afternoon, night, that we devoted to the passage of the budget in record time in compliance with the provisions of the Constitution, and we are now back to the January-December cycle. colleagues, because I will be traveling tomorrow, I want to seize the opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I pray that God in His infinite mercy will keep us through the season and bring us back in January fully refreshed and energized to continue what we've been doing in the last 6 months, and that is the people's business. Honorable colleagues, I would ask, I must also thank the non-legislative staff, the support staff, without whom we cannot do anything in this house, in these chambers. I thank you all, the cameramen, the clerks, the reporters, the technical crew, the sergeant at arms. We thank you all for all the work that you've been doing, your commitment and your dedication to the service. I thank you all very much. State caucus leaders should please, after sitting, state caucus leaders should please see my chief of staff immediately after sitting. I will also be having my end of year party for my office staff, but everybody is invited. Stop by if we have a moment, just to say hello to those who work in the Speaker's office. Thank you very much. Venue will be in the Speaker's office. Why are you also you're also excited? Yes, there will be plenty to eat and yes. Time? Because we're already in the mood to close early, I think we will leave here early. We'll go through the order paper very quickly, and I think so. Time will be 2 o'clock. Well, I've just been corrected, just a minute correction. I will see the zonal caucus leaders and the zonal caucus leaders, I'm sorry, the state caucus leaders should see their zonal caucus leaders. That's the correct procedure. State caucus leaders, see your zonal caucus leader after sitting. Thank you. Any member who has a petition to present to the House may please do so now. Thank you. No petition today. Urgent public importance. We passed the petition stage, so tomorrow. Matters of urgent public importance. Okay. We'll take 2 petitions. We need to speed up. We started late after 12. We were in the chambers. We were in my office waiting for members to settle down. And you guys, please, Honorable, your petition, and then Honorable Dati.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Makwe, Levenus Makwe. I represent Ohozra Ondesha, Ivo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Ebonyi State. I have here with me a petition from my constituent, Dr. Patrick Obonaya, who was wrongfully terminated or relieved of his employment at Federal Medical Center, Nguru, Yobe State. He is praying this Honorable House to look into the circumstances that warranted the unlawful termination and do justice. I crave the indulgence of Mr. Speaker and the House to come and lay the petition. Thank you.
Yeah, Honorable, please lay your petition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Garba Delti Mohammed. I represent Sabam, the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from my constituents whose land was seized as far back as 1977 by the Nigerian army to construct the Basawa barracks. Since that time, that their land was seized, which is their major means of livelihood,
Silence, please.
no compensation was paid to this particular community. They call them Maganda community in Sabangat local government of Kaduna State. Mr. Speaker, this petition was written to this House as the parliament of the Nigerian people, where they feel that justice will be done for their own case. I therefore present their petition, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Please take your seat. Honorable Kaoje, take your seat.
Petitions referred to the Committee on Public Petitions. Urgent public importance? Very good, we move on. Honorable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 8 bills. And I invite 9 bills, I'm sorry. And I invite the clerk to read their short titles. Clerk, hold on 1 second. Honorable Inyobere.
Silence, please. Silence, please. Honorable Yunusa, take your seat.
Go ahead, what's your point of order? Honorable Julius. Prof.
It's not a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is it? Yeah, that's a point of order. Well, go ahead. Matter of urgent public importance.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'm Julius Ihovere, Onwa Federal Constituency, Edo State. I actually have a matter of urgent public importance, and I come under right now.
Honorable colleagues, can we please take our seats? We have people in the gallery who can't even follow what's going on the floor because there's so much noise and movement around. Can we please take our seats? And let's listen to Prof in silence. Prof, what's your point of order? What's your matter?
Speaker, I have a matter of urgent public importance, and this is being presented along with Right Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai. And we're coming under Order 804 to allow us to take this motion. And also the second part of it to suspend the relevant rules to let us take it now. Something else. I know it's not.
Any seconder? Honorable Osai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai. I represent Doko Okwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the first and second arms of his motion. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Prof.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Julius Ihovere, Onwa Federal Constituency, Edo State. and I'm bringing up this urgent need to investigate the alleged 1.34 trillion naira unremitted revenue by the PPPRA. It's coming along with my colleague, brother, compatriot, Right Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai. The House knows that the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, is alleged to be withholding 1.34 trillion internally generated revenue belonging to the federal government, payable into the consolidated revenue account domiciled in the central bank in contravention of Section 1621 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Also knows that the Director General, Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabuezi, disclosed this in 2018 during his town hall meeting with chief executive officers of government-owned enterprises in Abuja, where he named the PPPRA as the worst culprit, quote unquote. Mr. Akabuezi said that the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency allegedly withheld unremitted operating surplus of over 1.34 trillion naira. Aware that Section 22, subsection 1 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 states that, quote, notwithstanding the provisions of any written law governing the corporation, each corporation shall establish a general reserve fund and shall thereto allocate to, at the end of each financial year, 1/5 of its operating surplus of the year, unquote, and such payments are to be made every year after preparation of audited accounts. Further aware that Section 22, subsection 2 of the Act stipulates that, quote, the balance of the operating surplus shall be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government not later than 1 month following the statutory deadline for publishing each corporation's account, unquote. Cognizant of the fact that the alleged 1.34 trillion unremitted revenues by the PPRA was collected as part of its totally internally generated revenue, thereby constituting a breach of the public accounting principle and the Treasury single account policy of the federal government. Concerned that the allegation is not only grave, but worthy of investigation by the House, especially in the face of the paucity of funds and economic crunch the government is currently passing through, and also concerned that the issue of non-remittances by the PPPRA has accumulated over several years, thus undermining the federal government's drive to fight corruption and ensure that there are no leakages in governance. Deeply worried that the lack of transparency in public sector accounting, occasioned by fiscal indiscipline by MDAs, have continued to sink holes in government purse and consequently encouraging corruption, abuse of power, inefficiency, and impunity. Resolved to urge the House Committee on Petroleum Resources downstream to investigate this allegation and report back to the House in 10 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any seconder? Osai again? Okay. No, Rev. Osai, it's okay. Let Rev. It's all right. It's all right. Rev.
Thank you, Mr.
Let the young grow, Osai. Let the young grow.
It's my honor and privilege to second the motion by Prof. Francis Ejirogene Waive is my name. I represent the entire people of Ugele North, Ugele South, and Udu. I am from Delta State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my esteemed colleague, Prof. I so second.
Prof.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very straightforward issue. Doesn't require much debate. If the statement had been made by somebody on the street, we would dismiss it as just an attempt to provoke society. But this came from the Director General of the Budget Office. I'm also aware that the PPPRA has come out to deny it. But you know, in Nigeria, when you hear these kinds of stories, you don't wave it off. Our motive here in presenting this to the House for investigation, particularly at this time when we have a huge budget and we do not have the resources, is to cause an investigation so we find out if it is true or not. In fact, this motion is going to help the credibility of the PPPRA, because if it is proven to be untrue, then we know that the Director General of the Budget Office needs to sit up and do his work properly before coming to the public to make such grave statements. But if they are culpable, I'm sure the committee will take the appropriate action to enable the House to reach a decision. That is, in a nutshell, what this motion is about. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Any other matter of urgent public importance? So we'll move on. Somebody's mic is on. Dambata, can you turn off that mic, please? All members, the first business of the day is presentation of 9 bills, and I invite the clerk to read their short title.
It's faulty, sir.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Federal University of Petroleum Resources EPRUM Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Secondary School Certificate Examination Standard Regulation Bill 2019, first reading. Nigerian Legion Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Pharmacists Council Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Zonal Development Commission Establishment Bill 2019, first reading. Nigeria Road Infrastructure Intervention Bill 2019, first reading. Pension Reform Act Amendment Bill, first reading. Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Development Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2019, first reading.
Second business of the day is presentation of the report on the Committee on Federal Capital Territory and Federal Capital Territory Area Councils and Ancillary Matters on a bill for an act to authorize the issue of the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 278,355,365,947 naira only, of which the sum of 55,878,241,095 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 62,343,723,435 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 160,133,401,417 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the year ending on 31st December 2020, standing in the name of Honorable Abdullah Idris Garba. Honorable members will recall that the bill was referred to the committees on Thursday, 12 December 2019. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Garba is invited to present the report.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I rise to move a motion for the presentation of the report on the committees on FCT and FCT Area Council matters of 2020 FCT 33 budget proposal. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
I'm not sure if anybody wants to second this presentation. No seconder. It's the FCT's budget. I don't see any seconder. So we step the matter. Okay. Honorable Gaza.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Gaza Jonathan Beatty, and I represent the people of Karu, Kefi, Kokona Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the chairman on FCT. I so move.
Okay. Then motion has been moved. Honorable Garba, seconded. Honorable Gaza. The most important part is what we're about to do now. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nay ayes have it. Who brought it? First order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of National Institute of Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification, and registration of hospitality, travel, and tourism personnel in Nigeria and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 11 December 2019. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time. Honorable Akwatasi.
Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I'm Comrade Peter of Akwatasi. I move that the bill for an act to amend the National Council for Public Procurement and the Bureau of Public Procurement Act number 14 of 2017 to review the mobilization fees paid to contractors, institute e-procurement, and provide time frame for the procurement processes, etc., and for related matters, HB 583, Senate Leader.
You are supposed to read this one. No. A bill for an act to provide gas.
Whip, can you second, please? Huh? Akwatasi? Leader, you read a different bill? So I have to.
Mr. Speaker, I came prepared to present the report we suspended yesterday. Yes, sir.
You are not debating. Yes, sir.
And that's why I was in a hurry to present that. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I move that a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification, and registration of hospitality, travel, and tourism personnel in Nigeria and for related matters, HB 45, should be read for the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Whip, can you please second? Chief Whip, can you second, please?
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Marche Munguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion for the third reading of the bill, heavily moved by the Leader of the House.
Honourable members, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favour of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. I now invite the clerk to read the long title of the bill. That is enough.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for establishment of National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification, and registration of hospitality, travel, and tourism personnel in Nigeria, and for related matters, HB 45, third reading.
Bill now read a third time and passed. The second of the order of the day is the commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ijebu-Ijesha, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Oluwole Oke. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 25th July 2019, and I invite Honorable Oke to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleagues. I am Oluwole Oke. I continue to represent the entire people of Ijesha North, Obokunriade. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, may I move that a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ijebu-Ijesha, and for related matters for second reader. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any second, Honorable Ali Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my honorable colleague. I so second.
Honorable Oke, please lead the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and my fellow colleagues. In the 8th Assembly, I brought this bill before this Honorable House, but by function of time, we couldn't take the bill to third reading, hence the need for me to bring life into the bill again, Mr. Speaker. My fellow colleagues, we all know the importance and the role of agriculture in our national lives. And that is one of the major pillars based on the current administration effort to refix this nation. Mr. Speaker, knowledge acquisition in the areas of agriculture is very key and important. Our youth, after passing through secondary school, search for admission into various universities, even when they meet the prerequisite requirements. They stay home. In Osun State, Mr. Speaker, we are known for two things: that education is our industry and agriculture. Mr. Speaker, in realization of this, Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory cited one of the largest farm settlements in Ijebu-Ijesha, which led to massive production of agricultural products, root crops, and cash crops. Mr. Speaker, in Osun State, we do not have any Federal College of Agriculture, unlike our other states in the north, in the south, southeast, south, in Osun State, Ekiti. We do not have any institution of this nature. And so our youth, that ordinarily will have been trained in this sector, roam about the streets. So one of the mischief that this bill seeks to cure is to provide an avenue where our youth can acquire education in the areas of agriculture, industrial mechanized farming so as to boost economic activities in the country. Mr. Speaker, this project, if considered, already enjoyed the support of the local community. It also enjoyed the support of the state government. And the state government have promised that if this is the light of the day, they will support this great institution. Statistically, Mr. Speaker, Osun State has an area size of 14,875 kilometers and about 149,478 hectares. Square kilometers are cultivated areas. There are also 256,000 farming families in Osun State, which translates to about 2 million farmers in the state. The import of this, Mr. Speaker, is that citing this college in this locality will provide an opportunity for this large number of citizens to acquire knowledge, skills, and enhance productivity, which will in turn improve the economy. It will also check social ills in the society. You see most of our youth doing Yahoo business. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge my colleagues to please allow this bill to see the light of the day. I so plead. Thank you very much.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ijebu, Ijesha, and for related matters, HB 322, second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions. Third order of the day is commencement of a debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the third schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to include the presiding officers of the National Assembly in the membership of National Security Council and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Odebumi Olusegun, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 18 September 2019. And I invite Honorable Olusegun to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Olusegun.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Odebumi Olusegun is my name. I represent the group people of Surulere Gulu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Oyo State. I rise this afternoon to move a bill for an act to amend the third schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to include presiding officers of the National Assembly in the membership of the National Security Council and for related matter. I so move.
Honorable Gagdi, please second the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. I represent Pashinkanam Kanki. I'm from Plateau State, Mr. Speaker. I rise second a motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Navy. Honorable Olusegun Odebumi, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Odebumi Olusegun, member representing Surulere Gulu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the bill is just a bill to amend the 1999 Constitution to include the National Assembly presiding officers in the Security Council of this nation. It is all appreciative that the democracy has come to stay in Nigeria. But at the same time, we still need to put some things that are needful for us to be having a very robust movement and a very robust to sustain our democracy all over the world. The difference between the governments that make it a democratic one is inclusion of the legislative arm of government. And for us,
Silence.
it's not different in Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, having including the presiding officers to join the National Council, we are not doing this either to focus into the affairs of the executive, but in order to have a very robust collaborative, so that in as much as believed that the functions of the government is to protect properties and the peoples of the nation. And for us here in the National Assembly is to make law for the good governance of Nigeria. So I can see that there's need for us to be working together in a single table to discuss the securities of this nation. And if there's any need for the National Assembly to take actions on any coming up of a new law in order to make sure the nation is secure well, it will be discussed at the security level, and in turn, the National Assembly will take it over. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, so this bill is just seeking for us to amend the third schedule of the 1999 Constitution to include our presiding sub.
Honorable Juma, please see Honorable Faleke.
Honorable Lere, take your seat. Honorable Lere. Honorable Lere.
At the council, whereby our lead presiding officer will be involved, and they will be able to know a lot of what is going on about the nation, whereby the security skills will be there also to know, to discuss about the security of the nation. And if our presiding officers are there, it will be easier for us to work it towards making a new law, amending the existing law to make sure the nation is secure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is all I need to submit on this bill. Thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable J.J. Juma.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Odebumi for him to have an elastic thought in amending that part of Constitution to accommodate a separate arm of government. Because we have three arms of government. And the first arm of government is legislature by our Constitution. The second arm is the executive, while the third arm is the judiciary. And when you are now thinking of having this kind of law in place without the first arm of government, I don't think it's good enough. And it is very, very important if the presiding officer of the National Assembly is in that meeting. A lot can be discussed. Gray area can be addressed. And at the end of the day, we marry everything together and resolve and have a legislative flavor into the system and make things work. And the essence of governance by Section 14 of the Constitution is welfare and security of our people. If 360 plus 109 are being here representing the public and no single person is being included in the Security Council, I don't think it's right enough. Therefore, I am in support that should be amended and the consideration will be given. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Chief Whip.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tar Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, my argument is fairly against the backdrop of the fact that the two presiding officers of the National Assembly They are the leaders of the representative of the Nigerian people. And all of us know that in a democracy, the legislature is the bastion of representation. And our representation cut across all the nooks and crannies of this country. The membership of the two presiding officers in the National Security Council will avail the council the opportunity of getting actionable and credible intelligence of what is happening in all the nooks and crannies of the country, because they are the leaders of members that are representing the nooks and crannies of the country. They can get the feedback of what is happening in the grassroots and then give it to the National Security Council for action. For example, if Boko Haram wants to attack a particular village in my constituency, I live in Abuja here. People call me and tell me that Boko Haram is amassing in a particular village, preparing to go and attack village B. I can simply pass on that information to the presiding officer so that the presiding officer, in the course of deliberation in the National Security Council, can adequately brief the National Security Council about what is happening in my constituency with regard to security. So that is the advantage of making the two presiding officers to be members of the National Security Council. And I urge my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the third schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to include presiding officers of the National Assembly in the membership of the National Security Council and for related matters. HB 328, second reading.
The bill is referred to the Special Ad hoc Committee on the Review of the 99 Constitution. Fourth order of the day is the commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to reconstitute the Meteorological Training Institute Onitsha by establishing the National Meteorological Training Institute Onitsha to provide training, information, supervision, guidance, and advice to students, researchers, and personnel in iron and steel and oil and gas industries for national development and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Linda Chuba Ikweazu. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read for the first time on Wednesday, 9th October 2019. I now invite Honorable Ikweazu to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Ikweazu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Linda Chuba Ikweazu, member representing Onitsha North and South Federal Constituency of Anambra State. May I move that the bill for an act to establish the Meteorological Training Institute, Onitsha, to provide training, information, supervision, guidance, and advice to students, researchers, and personnel in iron and steel, oil and gas industries for national development and for related matters be read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elbe.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was trying to get Honorable Sam, but it's okay. Go ahead. Your leader has taken over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anocho Shimle Federal Constituency. I rise to second this motion, ably moved by our ranking Honorable Mother of the House, Linda Ikpazu. Aso second.
Honorable Ikpeazu, you are trying to upgrade your institute, or what are you trying to do? To upgrade the institute to, is it not okay the way it is? It's okay. No, I'm talking about the bill itself. Oh, is there a need for lead the debate 2 ways?
Mr. Speaker, this bill basically is to lend a legal backing to an already established institute. The Metallurgical Institute in Onitsha was actually established, but not by law, in 1980, and it was as a result of the bilateral agreement between the federal government and Germany that actually brought about this institute. After feasibility study was done, it was found that education in Nigeria was largely skewed towards theories. And they felt that in order for Nigeria to develop their industry, it would be very important to have vocational training. So this institute actually started training welders, mechanical engineers, industrial electrics engineering, steel fabrication, and all of that. And they started off well. They trained a lot of graduates who are already in the workforce, but unfortunately, because there's no law backing this particular institute, it went down. If you go to the institute today, it's actually very pathetic. And it's one of the reasons, really, is that the rector or the administration of the school was now left to non-professionals. Based on that, they stopped the graduates of the school from gaining admission into getting HND and, of course, other higher institutions. And current, we are very specific that you cannot have somebody driving that school that is a non-professional. And it really does make sense. It's a no-brainer. So what happened was the gap where there were non-professionals actually driving the school made the school really go into decay. So what this bill really seeks to do is to have a structure, have a legal backing that will really help the school. Because I think this school is so important to our economy. If you look at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology in America, it's one of the best schools in the world. And really, in Nigeria, we're not into vocational education. And it's about time that we do, because we have so many industries that need people that actually cater to those fields. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I seek for your support to just give a legal backing to an already established institute. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
You have our support. The question is that the bill will now read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Is Honorable Ibrahim Kawu, is he here? Okay, yes. The fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal Medical Center. I'm sorry. Yes. The clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
A bill for an act to reconstitute the Metallurgical Training Institute Onitsha by establishing the National Metallurgical Training Institute Onitsha for training, to provide training, information, supervision, guidance, and advice to students, researchers, and personnel in iron and steel and oil and gas industries for national development and for related matters, HB 356, second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Steel. Fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal Medical Center, Ganduje, Dawakin Tofa, Kano State, and for related matters standing in the name of Honorable Hafiz Ibrahim Kau, Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 10th December 2019. And I invite Honorable Cow to move that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Cow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Hafiz Cow, representing Tarono Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I would like to move a bill for an act to establish Federal Medical Center, Ganduje, Twakin Tofa, Kano State, to be read for the second reading. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tukur. No, actually, Honorable Bamishile. Please second.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Femi Bamishile, representing Ebure Boyi and Ekiti local government from Ekiti State, the citadel of understanding. I stand to second the bill as moved by my very good friend, I hereby second, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Cow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Honorable Hafiz Cow, representing the good people of Taron.
No.
Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, kindly allow me to register my excitement and immense pleasure for being accorded this pristine opportunity to lead this historic debate on the above-mentioned bill, which unequivocally seeks to establish a federal medical center, Ganduje, Toakin Tofa, Kano State. You recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, the 10th day of December 2019. Mr. Speaker, the introduction and sponsorship of this bill has become necessary considering the urgent demand of now, in view of the astronomically rising population in Kano State and its environs. The need to not only bring healthcare facilities to the people's doorstep, but to also ensure the availability of quality healthcare delivery service through an all-encompassing affordable healthcare facilities. This bill, therefore, will serve as a conduit to creating the platform to accessible, qualitative, and prompt healthcare service in Kano State and its environs, in spite of the large and growing population. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the provision of adequate healthcare services to the population within the constraint of financial and manpower resources is a major problem of most developing countries, including Nigeria. In Nigeria, aside from the problem of health facilities deficit, the few available health facilities are unevenly distributed among its population. With the attendant difficulties to access to healthcare facilities, the Northwestern region, which is one of the victims of this problem, has become endemic. Mr. Speaker, Kano State, being one state in the northwestern region of country, has a total area of 20,131 kilometers square and density of 470 kilometers. Kano is the largest state in the north and the second largest state in Nigeria with estimated population of about 18 million. The state borders Katsina State to the northwest, Jigawa State to the northeast, Bauchi State to the southeast, and Kaduna State to the southwest. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, as a result of this problem, lack of sufficient healthcare facilities in the state, people of the state and its environs have had to and are still suffering the consequences of long and delayed appointments, long waiting, and most of the times that result from the problem of access to the few available health facilities, which are mostly situated in the urban areas of the state. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the synopsis of this bill. The bill contains 6 parts, 28 sections, and scheduled, and which parts include the establishment and board management section, which provide for the establishment of the Federal Medical Center as body corporate with perpetual succession and common seal that can be sued, and by virtue of which statutes the medical center is empowered to hold, acquire, dispose of property, and express interest in property movable and immovable. The other segment of the bill includes functions and powers of the board, which makes provision in that respect. staff of the medical center, which makes provision for appointment of the medical director, directors, other staff of the medical center. Financial provision, which makes provision on the fund of the medical center, expenditure of the medical center, power to accept gifts, annual estimates and expenditure, annual report, power to borrow, and exemption from tax. General provision, which makes provision on discipline of students, removal and discipline of clinical, administrative, technical staff, miscellaneous provision, which makes provisions or regulations, power to give directives, interpretations, and short title, the schedule which makes provision of the proceedings. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the objectives of this bill seek to establish Federal Medical Center Ganduje Kintofa. As much as possible, the availability of health service delivery to the large and growing population in the state and Nigeria at large. Ease access to health facilities as well as health care service delivery by taking an all-encompassing and affordable health service delivery to the people's doorstep. Equip, maintain, operate, and medical center so as to provide facilities for diagnosis, curative, promotive, and rehabilitative services in the medical treatment. Construct, equip, maintain, and operate such training schools necessary for providing the medical center at all times with a proper staff of the medical center, technicians, and nurses. Construct, equip, maintain, operate such clinics, outpatient departments, laboratories, research or experimental stations, and other like institutions necessary for the efficient functioning of the medical center. Provide facilities for the training of medical students of Associate University. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the foregoing reasons and so many other that constraint of time and space will not allow us to mention, Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, form the basis for the initiation and sponsorship of this bill for an act to establish the Federal Medical Center Ganduje Kintofa Kano State. It is on this premise that I humbly and respectfully urge you, Mr. Speaker, and my respected colleagues to support this bill to be read the second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, we already had a second, and that was the lead debate. Okay, the question is that the bill be read a second time. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Bill is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. Clerk, long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Medical Center Ganduje Kintofa Kano State and for related matters, HB 585, second reading.
The bill is referred to Committee on Health Institutions. Sixth order of the day is a motion on the reconsideration of outstanding bills from the preceding Assembly pursuant to Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. Standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika Sama, Gudi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Consideration of outstanding bill from the preceding Assembly. Arbitration and Conciliation Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2019, HB 91. House notes that pursuant to Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, bills passed by the preceding Assembly and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made, or negatived, or passed by the Senate and forwarded to the House, for which no concurrence was made, or negatived, or which were passed by the National Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the Assembly, the House may resolve that such bills, upon being regazetted, are clean and or clean copies circulated, be reconsidered.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Leke Joseph Abejide, member representing the good people of Jaguapera constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by one of our respected leader, Honorable Abubakar Hassan Falata. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Fulata, let's just, I guess we just put the question. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The seventh order of the day is a motion on need to rehabilitate and dualize Kano, Gezawa, Gabasawa, Garki, Gumel, Malam, Madon, Hadija Federal Road. Stand in the name of Honorable Nazif Sani and 4 others. Honorable members will recall that, and 4 other honorable members, I'm sorry. Honorable Sani is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Nazifi, Sani, and 4 others are not on the floor. I move that the motion be stepped down by the leave of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder, please? Oh, sorry, you stepped it down. Sorry, concentration is very weak today. So you're stepping that down? Okay, the 8th order of the day is motion step down. 8th order of the day is a motion on banning of illegal cooking gas outlets and operators in the country, standing in the name of Honorable Kolawole Taiwo Musuba. Honorable Musuba is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Kolawole Taiwo. I represent Ajeromi Felodu Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos. I hereby move that the House note the policy of the federal government to encourage the use of cooking gas in homes across the country as an alternative to kerosene usage. And in order to achieve this objective, there is need to have cooking gas skilled operators and outlets at every nook and crannies of the country. Aware that there are rules to be followed, operational guidelines to be complied with, and license to be obtained before one can become a cooking gas skilled operator. And also safety measures to be met before the license is issued. Also aware that part of the requirement include having enough space which will help diffuse gas leakage, providing bucket of sharp sands, while ventilated shop, 2 fire extinguisher, display of appropriate warning and dangerous signs, emergency number and distance from fire source, etc. What is that many of the cooking gas operators do not comply with those requirements or meet the safety measures before starting business activities. And many of the outlets are located within the residential areas, and in some cases, in between buildings, and even under staircase of houses in some urban areas. Concerned that those abnormalities and carelessness have, over the years, resulted in gas explosion, uncontrollable fire accidents that have led to loss of lives and destruction of properties in virtually all the states of the Federation. Deeply worried that many lives and property worth several millions of naira have been lost due to the negligence and carelessness on the part of the people and agencies of government empowered to ensure compliance and enforce the law. As a result, the gas explosion and fire victims have never received any compensation, and no one has been brought to book for his or her role in the incident. Resolved to urge the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, to enforce its rules and guidelines by banning illegal cooking gas outlets all over the country and carry out periodic checks on outlets and operators to ensure compliance and discipline errant operators. 2. Also urge National Emergency Management Agency to assist victims of gas explosion and fire incidents. 3. Mandate the Committee on Gas Resources to ensure compliance. I so move.
Any seconder, please? Ja. Okay. Let's use one of your neighbors. Honorable member from Surulere 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Shoyinka Olatunji, representing the very good people of Surulere 2 Federal Constituency of Lagos State. I'm from Center of Excellence. I am a Lagosian. I write to support the motion ably moved by my colleagues. I so support.
Taiwo, lead the debate, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the rate of fire accident through cooking gas leakage and explosion is becoming rampant in the country. It is becoming a recurring event across the nation, raising the question about our safety and how much we value lives and property in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, virtually all the states in the country have witnessed one or two or more of these accidents. In particular reference, I would want to draw your attention to what happened on the 16th of January 2018 in Lagos at Magodo, where this type of explosion instantly, immediately caused the death of 10 people. Those other people that died are uncountable, but the instant explosion led to the death of about 10 Nigerians. And you know, this has been happening repeatedly all over. The one that drew my attention mostly is one that occurred in my constituency on the 27th of November of instance. Because of the negligence on the regulators, because we put a lot of values to how we want to make money. A skilled operator sited a mini gas plant between buildings, and the explosion came. People are still dying. Yesterday, somebody called me. We have lost another office. We have lost more than 20 people on this. That's the reason why I said we must talk about this. We must let's wake those people that are sleeping. Those that have the responsibility of guiding. It's good. It's a good initiative for us to have gas as an alternative to either kerosene or even felling of trees for cooking. But it will be hazardous and unacceptable for us to allow people to lose their life because of negligence, because of some people that decide to relax the rules that have been set. I want to appeal to my colleagues. Let's join out and make this motion say true, to make it very mandatory for the people that are saddled with the responsibility to do this, to do it. And also call on our own committee on gas resources, to monitor them closely, in order that we must be able to, for every time we have this type of things, you cannot just go to sleep. There must be a thorough investigation. And for us to get one person that will be made to pay for the negligence and for the what they call it, Nemasa to also come to the aid of our people. In my own constituency, I represent the Antrodi people. I look at them, I pity for them. NEMA, thank you very much. The governor of the state came to our aid, but it's not enough. Those people are still dying because they cannot even buy the necessary drug needed to keep them afloat. We need NEMA to come to our aid in Ajegule. Let them come to assist us. People have lost their means of livelihood. Some of them have lost their properties. People are dying. Because many people are still in the hospital. That is the more reason why I said I should bring this up today. I need the support of my friends and my colleagues to make this have the necessary support. Thank you very much.
Honorable colleagues, those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Ninth order of the day is a motion calling for the remediation, shore protection, and canalization of rivers and streams in Nigeria. Standing in the name of Honorable Pascal Chigozie Obi. Honorable Obi is invited to move the motion. Honorable Obi is not around. Okay, motion step down. Tenth order of the day is a motion on need to phase out unpainted taxes in the Federal Capital Territory. Standing in the name of Honorable Leke Abejide, Honorable Abejide is invited to move the motion.
No use mine. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Leke Abejide, member representing the good people of Yagba East, Yagba West, Mopamoro Federal Constituency, and from Kogi State. The need to phase out unpainted taxi in the Federal Capital Territory. The House notes Section 299 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and 1999 as amended empowers the National Assembly to legislate for the Federal Capital Territory. Also notes that under the provision of Section 299 of the 1999 Constitution, the National Assembly enacted the Federal Capital Territory Act, Cap F6, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. And by Section 1/3 of the Act, the Federal Capital Territory shall be administered by the government of the Federation to the exclusion of any other authority. Further notes that the Federal Capital Territory Administration established the Federal Capital Territory Road Transport Secretariat, which has responsibility for road traffic and motor vehicle administration in the Federal Capital Territory. Worried that operations of taxi cabs and commercial vehicles in the Federal Capital Territory is largely unregulated or inefficiently administered, thus giving room for any private vehicle owners to engage in commercial taxi operations known as kabu-kabu, and thereby exposing commuters to incidents of kidnapping and several other risks that come with unlicensed taxi operations. Cognizant that in most developed cities of the world, commercial taxi operators are well registered, regulated, and licensed, with only city cabs or painted cabs approved for legal commercial vehicle operations. Believes that if taxi operations in the Federal Capital Territory remains unregulated, with unpainted and unlicensed commercial vehicles operating, kidnappers, armed robbers, and other criminal elements will continue to take advantage of unregulated use of taxis to carry out their nefarious activities. The House resolved to urge the Federal Capital Territory Transport Secretariat, in conjunction with the Federal Road Safety Corps, to ban the use of unpainted and unlicensed taxi operations in the Federal Capital Territory. 2. Also urge the Federal Capital Territory Transport Secretariat to commence the registration, regulation, and licensing of all private corporate commercial vehicles operating in the Federal Capital Territory. And lastly, sir, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, mandate the Committee on Federal Capital Territory to ensure implementation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Emeka, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Emeka Chinedu. I represent the good people of Ayaz Rezin in the Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, my neighbor, Honorable Abejide. I so move, Mr. Speaker. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Abejide, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Leke Abejide, member representing the good people of Yagba East, Yagba West, Mapamuro Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, it has become a common knowledge now in the federal capital to see different kinds of vehicles carrying passengers, thereby making it easy for the criminal element to hide under this, to start kidnapping unsuspecting commuters. You remember what happened at Dusi Alaji this year, September, I think September 13th, that one woman with 2 men were burnt alive in the process of trying to kidnap a girl. Unfortunately for them, they were caught in the process. That kind of taxi is what they use to carry a lot of people during the day. And even about 3 days ago, I saw a taxi carrying passenger without plate number within this FCT. Anywhere in the world, capital city supposed to be a model that can be used to generalize what a country is. Anybody coming to Nigeria for the first time and is seeing this type of thing in the federal capital territory, we believe that that is what is happening all over the country. So Nigeria, the federal capital is supposed to be a model for all other states to copy from. But if this type of thing is happening here, this is where the president is, this is where the legislators are, this is where the judiciary is. So we have everybody here. The whole country is here. So we need to look at this to make sure any taxi that's going to be regulated to have a number, even though if it is under Uber. Uber should have their name written boldly on the vehicle and the number there, so that if you carry that number, if you check it with the FCT administration, they will see that it's registered with them. It's not that anybody will just come with vehicle and start carrying passengers within the city, and thereby using it to carry our people away, using them from something that I cannot mention here. So please, I implore the members, my colleagues, honorable members, and my Excellency, the Speaker, please, to help me allow this motion to go, so that we can make Abuja to be a place that will be envy of all. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much, honorable colleagues.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Okay. It's Christmas. The ayes have it. Ninth order of the day. The 11th order of the day is a motion calling for the investigation of non-remittance of 8 trillion naira into the Federation account by the Nigerian Ports Authority, standing in the name of Honorable Richard Gbande. Honorable Gbande is invited to move the motion. Motion step down. Honorable Elumelu, you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Ndodi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimilik Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. The need to investigate Messrs. Nino Engineering Limited, Petrogas Specialist Services Limited, Quintus Investment Company for abandoning the construction of Onichukwu Dumuje Road, Onichukwu Dumogo Road, and Onichukwu Civic Center projects. The House notes with serious concern that Messrs. Nino Engineering Limited was awarded the construction of Onichukwu Idumujo Ono Link Road, while Messrs. Quintus Investment Company Nigeria Limited was awarded the Onichukwu Dumogo Link Road, and Petrogas Specialist Limited was awarded the construction of Onichukwu Civic Center in 2012 by Niger NDDC with a contract execution period of 3 months. The House is aware that the Commission mobilized the contractors since 2012 for the 3 projects. The House is concerned that since the contractors were mobilized to go to the site, nothing has been done on any of the roads, and the land allotted for the Civic Center has long become a forest overgrown by weeds and trees with an uncompleted structure inside. The House is further concerned that the inability to complete the construction of these roads has hampered the socio-economic activities of these environments, thereby causing untold hardships on the indigenes living within the localities. The House is worried that from the information available, the contractors, after being mobilized, have abandoned the project and absconded without doing the job as contained in the contractual agreement. The House is disturbed that all efforts made to bring the contractors back to sites have proved abortive, while all monies paid to them as mobilization fees have gone with the winds. This House is hereby disturbed further that the contractors have shown no remorse as to the consequences of their dereliction of duties since 2012. Instead, they claim that sufficient funds have not been provided for them to return to site. They have therefore resolved that the Committee on NDDC should summon the management of NDDC and all the contractors to investigate and ascertain the level of work done in relation to the amount of funds so far disbursed, and if funds are found to be the problem, immediate measures should be taken towards the possibility of raising adequate funds for them to return to their respective sites and report back to the House within 6 weeks. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
You want to second? Go ahead. Acting minority, what's lead?
Motion, sir. I remain loyal for that praise that you have given to me at the elevation. My name is Honorable Enego. I represent the very good people of Amondofi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm a Lagosian, very proud one at that. I wish to support the motion ably moved by the minority leader. I so move. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is an infrastructure motion. Let's just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 12th order of the day is a motion on need to promote and standardize the herbal industry in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Ajibola Muraina. Honorable Muraina is invited to move the motion.
Go ahead. Okay. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I am Dr. Honorable Ajibola Muraina. I represent Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable colleagues, I am from Oyo State.
Mr. Speaker, right honorable colleagues, I have a motion and I am prepared to move. Motion is on the need to promote and standardize the herbal industry in Nigeria. The House notes that the use of herbal medicine in Africa has greatly elevated and enhanced the primary healthcare system, as it is common knowledge that herbal medicine is one of the oldest forms of medicine in the world. Indeed, it has been very well researched and documented in some countries. The House also notes the need to promote and standardize the herbal industry in Nigeria, as plants have always been a component of mankind's health care system, given that leaves, fruits, flower, stem, bark, and roots, or even whole plants, have themselves been used in the treatment of illnesses for more than 200 years ago. The House is aware that young generations of Africans have accepted the safe healing power of herbal medicine, and the value of the local herbal industry in Nigeria has significantly increased, thus creating a good market for indigenous pharmaceutical industry to thrive. The House is also aware that the World Health Organization recognizes traditional medicine and complementary alternative medicine and refers to herbs, herbal materials, herbal preparations, and finished herbal products that contain whole plants, parts of plants, or other plant materials including leaves, bark, berries, flowers, roots, and all their extracts as active ingredients intended for human therapeutic use. The House is further aware that owing to the economic downturn, many Nigerians now resort to traditional herbal systems for their primary health care needs, and in other parts of Africa, particularly West Africa, new drugs are not often available, thus making over 60 to 80% of the population to rely on medicinal plants, since herbal products in the form of supplements, herbal teas, extracts, and essential oils are easy to come by and are readily available. The House further notes that there is need to educate traditional practitioners like herbalists, traditional birth attendants, bone setters, diviners, traditional surgeons, spiritualists, etc., in order to regulate and bring their services to an acceptable standard. The House observes that in sub-Saharan Africa, there is one traditional healer to every 500 people, which is grossly inadequate, especially going by the World Health recommendation of one doctor to 600 people. Hence, the need to urgently accord herbal medicine the desired recognition. The House is convinced that herbal medicine has a bright future and that the federal government should fund the development of scientific herbal medicine, embark on training and retraining of herbal medicine practitioners, establish and implement policy framework for the standardization of herbal medicine. The House is convinced that the herbal industry, if given the necessary incentives, could generate $10 billion annually with large-scale cultivation and harvesting of medicinal plants, which will provide sufficient raw materials for research, local production, industrial processing, and packaging for export. The House is desirous of the need to raise the standard of African traditional herbal medicine to international standards through inter-country collaboration, which will put African herbal medicine in an admirable and competitive position in the world health care system. The House resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Health to pay more attention to the traditional healthcare sector as orthodox medical practice and traditional Chinese medicine are practiced and taught together in Chinese medical institutions. In like manner, specialized trainings in herbal medicine by pharmacy and medical schools are essential in achieving a sustainable health. 2. The House also urges the Federal Ministry of Health to liaise with NAFDAC to promote effective monitoring, evaluation, and regulation of herbal medical practice and ensure improved collaboration between traditional practitioners and modern healthcare professionals and researchers. The House is calling on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to sensitize the public that any herbal product without NAFDAC number should be discarded. The House is to mandate the Committee on Banking and Currency to interface with Central Bank of Nigeria and commercial banks to pave way for indigenous herbal manufacturers to have more access to loan facilities for production and packaging, and are also giving tax incentives and exceptions from value-added tax, tariffs, and duties to enable them to grow. The House is also to mandate the Committee on Healthcare Services to interface with stakeholders to work out modalities for administering both the orthodox and herbal medicine on patients, and also to ensure formal training of traditional herbal practitioners and report back within 8 weeks for further legislative action. Right Honorable Speaker, I so humbly move in terms of my motion papers. I beg to move, sir.
Honorable Babangida, on the second motion, please.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, representing Malam Fashi, Kafur Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to support the motion on the need to promote and standardization of the herbal industry in Nigeria, as ably moved by Honorable Ajibola Murona. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Murano, please lead the debate.
Mr. Speaker, right honorable members, this motion is res ipsa loquitur. It speaks for itself. Nevertheless, I want to emphasize that the twin pillars that will form the fulcrum of your support for this motion should be, one, to ensure that we create employment opportunities for our people. If we promote herbal medicine, definitely we are going to create numerous employment opportunities for our people that they can benefit from. Secondly, and most importantly, by creating employment opportunities and working hard on herbal medicine, we will also, the country will earn more in terms of foreign exchange, particularly in terms of foreign currencies and foreign earnings, which will also be of great assistance to this country. Right Honorable Speaker, on these two pillars, I urge my honorable colleagues most humbly to give a strong support to this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my honorable colleagues.
Okay. We'll just put the question. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 13th order of the day is a motion on need to curb the consumption of alcohol by underage youth in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Chinedu Emeka Martins. Honorable Martins is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Emeka Chinedu. I represent the good people of Ayas, Timbisa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion for the need to curb the consumption of alcohol by underage youth in Nigeria. The House notes that with dismay, the disturbing trend of alcohol consumption and abuse by underage population, especially among students in the secondary school, which is affecting their physical health and mental development, as well as behavioral pattern, thus posing a major public and national health hazard. The House also notes that the global status report of the World Health Organization, WHO, on alcohol and health, and the increasing rise in alcohol-related deaths globally as a result of indiscriminate or wrongful use of alcohol, which was the cause of 3 million deaths in 2016 alone, is also a leading risk factor for the population health and has a direct impact on the achievement of national targets on sustainable development goal on health. The House is therefore aware that Nigeria, because of her large population, is expected to have one of the highest rates of alcohol consumption in the world, and also adversely affected by the negative consequences of alcohol use and abuse, especially among the younger population because of lack of enforcement, poor enlightenment and social influence, which lead them to experiment with illicit substances. The House is therefore concerned that alcohol is regarded as a gateway drug, the indulgence of which often lead to the use of more addictive drugs, and research has shown that timeless prevention of alcohol use in teenagers reduces the likelihood of them getting involved with other illicit drugs later in life. The House is further concerned that alcohol consumption among teenagers has led to the increased tendency towards violence in schools and related environments, higher incidence of school dropouts, and cases of mental and physical challenges. The House is therefore worried that a long-term effect of alcohol use among the underage population is placing a burden on the healthcare and criminal justice system, and also impacting adversely on the leaders of tomorrow, and if not addressed, will portend their consequences on the future of the country. The House therefore resolved to 1. Call on the Federal Ministry of Health to liaise with National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, and the Consumer Protection Council, CPC, to put mechanisms in place to implement the age restriction on alcohol consumption. 2. Urge the Federal Ministry of Education to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Health to carry out alcohol prevention campaigns in secondary schools to educate students on the danger of alcohol use and abuse. 3. Also urge the National Orientation Agency to embark on public enlightenment and awareness campaign to discourage liquor stores, restaurants, nightclubs, and beer parlors from the sale of alcohol to underage children, especially those less than 18 years of age. 4. Mandate the Committee on Healthcare Services and Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values to ensure implementation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Pella, please second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to second this very, very important motion. I am Honorable Shino Pella. I represent the people of Iseyin, Itesiwaju, Kajola, Iwajowa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Oyo State. I stand to second the motion as ably moved by my brother and colleague, Honorable Chinedu. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pella. I asked you to second intentionally, and I'm sure you know why. You know why? That place.
I know that. I know, Mr. Speaker, and I fully second it.
Tell the House why.
Mr. Speaker, because I have so much passion for entertainment in this country, as we know that entertainment do contribute highly to the GDP rate of Nigeria, and I know the importance of us stopping our youth from engaging in social vices, which we believe that alcohol is an important factor. So I second this motion as ably moved.
And more important, you run an establishment in Lagos that sells alcohol. But I trust you, I know you very well to be responsible, that you are eager to support this, to stop underage drinking. I know you will do that. Yes, we will send an ad hoc committee to visit your establishment during the... Yes, it will be chaired by Honorable Ononuga. Honorable Martins, lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Emeka Chinedu. I represent the good people of Ayaz, the Jembise Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, this motion is a very straightforward motion. Thank you for calling our attention to one of the operators of nightclubs in Nigeria. The main reason why I decided to move this motion is these days we see most underage youths drinking alcohol with reckless abandon. These days you see children less than 18 years, they even go into competition on whom is going to take the number of bottles. I could remember back in the days, sometime last year, there was such competition in Lagos. One of Davido's friends died out of drinking competition. Mr. Speaker, this motion is just a very straightforward motion calling on every member here, including parents, because you find out that why most of these underage youth drink alcohol is due to peer group influence. You find out that because of lack of care, even from the parents, most parents are busy chasing money or chasing career. They don't even know what their children is doing. And thereby, before they come back from the day, their children is already drunk. So I'm calling on even the members of this house to please support this motion. We owe these underage children a duty of care by knowing what they do, knowing the kind of friends they keep, and knowing the kind of thing they consume, especially alcohol. Alcohol, we know, has a very bad effect on the youth. Alcohol even leads to suicide. Alcohol leads to several wrong vices like even violence. Most at times, some youth can even be drunk, and before you know it, they go into prostitution. Some youth, after being drunk, they become violent. They become unruly. Even alcohol has several bad side effects like memory loss. I can't count. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say is that we should, since we're in the Christmas season now, we owe these underage children a duty of care to even know the kind of alcohol we give to even your visitors, especially the underage children. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Pella, give us a 1 minute contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Honorable Shina Pella. I represent the people of Iseyin, Itesiwaju Kajola Iwajoa, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Oyo State. I also stand as the voice of the common man in the Federal House of Representatives, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to lend my voice on this very, very important motion. Inasmuch as we know the importance of curbing our youth, most especially the underage, under the age of 18, the consumption of alcohol. I want to draw our attention to the marketers of these products. Most of them, they do write it on the bottle that it is not consumable for anybody that is under the age of 18. So, and for the business that I'm being associated with, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Speaker, I have resigned as the operator of the nightclub. But I can advocate for what is right in the industry, which I believe that it is very, very important for us to ensure that we mandate the National Orientation Agency to make sure that they sensitize the general public on the importance of curbing the youth from against the consumption of alcohol. What I know about Quilox, we do not allow, when I was in the world, Mr. Speaker, we didn't allow, we don't used to allow.
Where are you now?
So we make sure that at least any person that is under the age of 18 is not allowed into the premises, and which I'm sure that a lot of nightclubs, especially in Lagos State, that they do. But I would just say that as my brother, the mover of this motion, has pointed out in his resolve, that we should mandate the NAFDAC and NOA to make sure that they do they perform their duties in restricting the consumption of alcohol to people that are over the age of 18. Over age of 18. So they can drink, people over age of 18. So anybody that is less than age of 18 is not allowed to consume alcohol. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 14th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to amend the National Council on Public Procurement and the Bureau of Public Procurement Act number 14, 2017 to review the mobilization fees paid to contractors, institute e-procurement, and provide time frame for the procurement process, etc., and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 11th November 2019. The House Leader will move for its consideration. Leader.
Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I'm Comrade Peter Party. I move that a bill for an act to amend the National Council on Public Procurement and the Bureau of Public Procurement Act number 14, 2017 to review the mobilization fees paid to contractors, institute e-procurement, and provide time frame for the procurement processes, etc., and for related matters, HB 583, Senate Leader, be considered. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Gudaji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Mohammed Kudaji Kazaure, member representing Kazaure, Roni, Biwa, Emkwe. I move to second that the House should reverse to Committee on the Whole to consider the report. I so move.
Thank you. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 15th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act number 17, 2017 to allocate 1% of the maritime funds to the fund established under Section 6 of the Maritime Operation Coordinating Board Act and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 27 November 2019. Honorable Yusuf Gagdi will move for its consideration.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. I represent Paishinkanke Kanam. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. I rise to move for the bill to be considered a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Act number 17, 2017 to allocate 1% of the maritime fund to the fund established under Section 6 of the Maritime Operation Coordinating Board Act and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jaffa. Yeah, not on your seat, Henry. Honorable Oga. I already go, but go ahead. Don't worry, Honorable Oga. Jaffa, go ahead. I was referring to Honorable Jafar over there, but he was not listening. I was not on the seat. So, but it's still. So we have 3 people now who are seconding the. So let's revert back to the original intended person, Honorable Jafar Adamawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Jafar Abubakar Magaji is my name. I represent Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Yusuf Gaddi. The bill moved by Honorable Yusuf Gaddi, I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 16th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria. And for related matters, honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 9th October 2019. Honorable Makwe will move for its consideration. Honorable Makwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Engineer Makwe, Livinus Makwe. I represent Ohozra, Onitsha, Ivo Federal Constituency of Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move for the consideration of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria and for related matters, HB 353. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tijani, no, Honorable Chinedu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Prince Cornelius Sumnach. I represent the good people of Enugu East and issues of federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Enugu State. I rise to second the bill moved by my brother, Mr. Libby Makwe, I so second.
Sorry, those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 17th order of the day is consideration of the bill for an act to repeal the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria Act, Cap P17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Bill to regulate the training and practice of pharmacy and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 26 September 2019. Honorable Johnson Oguma will move for its consideration. I don't believe he's on the floor.
Honorable Johnson is not on the floor. I move that the bill, the consideration of the report be stepped down by the leave of the House, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Bill stepped down. The 18th order of the day is consideration of a report of the ad hoc committee on investigation of the circumstances of the alleged abscondment of 5 Nigerian soldiers of the Operation Harbin Kunama 3 with large amounts of cash. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 12 December 2019. Honorable Suleiman Aminu will move for its consideration.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman. I represent Pagi Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, I do move that the House do consider the report of the Ad hoc Committee on Investigation of the circumstances of the alleged abscondment of 5 Nigerian soldiers of the Operation Harbin Kunama 3 with large amount of cash and approve the recommendation therein. I move, Honorable Speakers.
Honorable Maki.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I remain Abubakar Maki Eleman. I represent Madam Modori Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Jigawa State. I raise this afternoon to heavily support and second the bill heavily raised by Honorable Aminu Goro. I so second.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Honorable colleagues, before we resolve to the committee of the whole, I have a sad announcement. It's just been brought to my attention that we lost a senator this morning in faraway Dubai. For reasons that it's still very fresh, I don't know if the family has been communicated to, because it only just happened some hours ago. I will refrain from announcing the name just out of respect for the family. But yes, we lost a member this morning, and for that reason, as is traditional, we will not be sitting tomorrow. And we have some very urgent matters to consider. And so we'll have to improvise, and I think we will be adjourning till Friday as opposed to sitting tomorrow. We will sit on Friday and close the House on Friday. House Leader, please move that the House be resolved into the Committee of the Whole to consider the bills.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohionzoji-Akpatasin. I move that the House resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider reports. I so move.
Honorable Kiruk, are you second, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiru Kaunye George. I represent the good people of Isukwa Tomuno, Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. I rise to second that the House do resolve into Committee of the Whole. I so second.
Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House is hereby resolved into Committee of the Whole. Honorable colleagues, I need to make a very quick announcement, please. We have signed up on some public hearings. Please, there will be no public hearings during the Christmas and New Year break until we get back. Please, the House will be on vacation and there will be no public hearings during that time. Those public hearings will not be official. All public hearings will resume from the time we come back in January. Thank you.
Respected distinguished colleagues, the first bill to be considered is for an act to amend the National Council on Public Procurement and the Bureau of Public Procurement Act number 14, 2017, to review the mobilization fees paid to contractors, institute e-procurement, and provide time frame for the procurement process, etc., and for related matters. I now invite the House Leader to give the synopsis of the bill. The House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, you will recall that the Public Procurement Act Amendment Bill 2019 is a Senate bill that seeks to amend the National Procurement Council of Public Procurement and the Bureau of Public Procurement Act to review the mobilization fees paid to contractors, institute e-procurement, and provide time frame for the procurement processes and for related matters. The bill was read the first time in the Senate on Wednesday, 13th of November 2019. Debate on the general principles of the bill was concluded on the 14th of November 2019 and read for the second time. The bill was read the third time and passed on Wednesday, 4th of December 2019 and referred to the House for concurrence. The bill was re-gazetted as HB 583 and read the first time in the House on Tuesday, 10th of December and committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 11th of December. Right Honorable Speaker and my dear colleagues, the bill seeks to amend sections 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, section 26, 27, 30, 31, 35, 36, 55, and 60 of the Principal Act, dealing principally with establishment of the National Council of Public Procurement and its membership, objectives of the Bureau, functions of the Bureau, powers and funds of the Bureau, financial year, budgeting and annual report, legal proceedings, scope of application, fundamental principles of procurement, as well as approving authority, procurement planning, accounting officer, procurement planning committee, tenders board, open competitive bidding, invitation to Chair, basically, those are the areas that amendments were made. We have a total of 26 such amendments. 27, Mr. Chair. In conclusion, the bill basically seeks to amend the National Council of Public Procurement, Bureau of Public Procurement to review mobilization fees paid to contractors and institute e-procurement. So,
fellow colleagues, I would beg for your kind understanding. Yesterday, if you recall, we have to step down this bill because of the method of reporting that was done, which was in compliance with our own procedures. Other than that, there is no any other issue regarding this Procurement Act, and because we want it expediently move alongside with the Senate so that we can have it signed for the purpose of having our 2020 budget properly executed, and to the advantage of our local contractors, I think I want to beg that we do the needful, allow what has been done so far to pass. Thank you very much. It's an appeal. Clause 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's no 8. So, do we assume what is in 8 is exactly what was in the former Principal Act? There's no 8?
8, 9, 10, 11.
Back where? At the back of 7? Close 8. Eh? Where? Okay. No, let me say. Whatever it is, the secretariat will sort it out. So for the purpose of our record, clause 7. 8. Go to page 8. You go to amendment of section 13. Just take it. That is a new method of writing. That's all. Answer my, just help me. Section, clause 8. 9. 10. You see why you're running to follow what I told you. Please, let's go. Section 16. That's 11. Section 17, 12. Got it? Thirteen, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We have appeal. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Explanatory memoranda. Long title. Thank you. You want to talk? He was too slow. Distinguished respected colleagues, the second bill to be considered is for an act to amend the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act, number 17, 2017, to allocate 1% of the maritime funds to the fund established under Section 6 of the Maritime Operation Coordinating Board Act, and for related matters, I invite Honorable Yusuf Gagdi to move to give us a synopsis of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, I'm Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. I represent Panshinkanke Kanam. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Chairman, we recall that this is a bill that was passed during the 8th National Assembly, but due to time constraint, it was not assented to by Mr. President. And the bill is a straightforward bill. It's a piece of amendment, just a piece, that seeks to amend allocate 1% of the maritime fund to the fund established under Section 6 of the Maritime Operation Coordinating Board Act and other related matters. This is to enable us have our waterways secured by protecting the anchorage secured area, particularly that some agencies contribute to those funds. They should equally allow to be beneficiaries of those funds. Mr. Chairman, you may so wish and distinguish to consider this piece of amendment for the good of our waterways. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You appeal to us. You appeal to members. If you say you so wish, the wish may not be good. So you appeal.
I appeal, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Respected colleagues, thank you. Clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 4. Can you guide me where clause 4 is? Explanatory memoranda. Long title. Thank you. Thank you. We have stepped down. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the third bill to be considered is for an act to provide for the establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria and for related matters. I invite Honorable Makwe to give the synopsis of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Honorable Makwe, Livinus Makwe. I represent the good people of Ahozra, Onitsha, Ivo Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Just like the previous immediate bill considered, this bill was also a bill that was passed by the National Assembly in the 8th section. But unfortunately, it did not receive the consideration of the assent of the President before the end of that tenure. So I sought to bring it back to the House for consideration. That is a bill for an act to establish the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria. The bill for an act to establish the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria is primarily to provide a legal framework for the standardization of environmental practice in Nigeria. The enactment of this law is long overdue, not merely for the purpose of need to have, but more essentially as a measure to secure our future and the environment, which is our common heritage. Okay, the aim of what this bill is going to achieve is that it will create a body that will standardize and superintend over the environmental practices in Nigeria. Like you have ACON, you have other agencies, that's all. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, the question are those in favor that clause 1 stand part of say aye. Clause 1. Clause 1, 2, 3, 4. If I may ask, Makwe, is this a new bill?
I said it's a carryover bill. That was the first thing that I said, Mr. Speaker. Yes. No, it's completely new bill. It's not an amendment, but it has been passed before. But the president has not assented to it. Yeah. It was an established bill.
Thank you. That's why I'm asking. But if it is under establishment bill, where is section 5, 6? Where? Where is it? Which bill are you reading? Excuse me, sir. Can you go to power of control? Huh? No fool. Makwe, I would advise that you step down your bill, take it on Friday.
Mr. Speaker, this one is well arranged. Can I bring this one? Let me.
Thank you, Chairman. Huh?
This one is correct.
Respected colleagues, the report to be considered is that of the ad hoc committee on the investigation of the circumstances of the alleged abscondment of 5 Nigerian soldiers of the Operation Harbin Kunama, 3 with large amount of cash. I invite Honorable Suleiman Aminu to give the Senator the report.
Honorable colleagues, this report, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, arises from a referral sent to us as a consequence of the House resolution on the 24th of July, itself arising from a press statement from the Nigerian Army informing the Nigerian public of the appointment of 5 soldiers on an escort mission with a large amount of cash reported at that time to be about 400 million naira. The House debated and set up an ad hoc committee to investigate and report back to the House. The committee met a number of times and engaged the Chief of Army Staff, represented by Major General Abubakar, Chief of Administration of the Nigerian Army. In the meetings, it was reported that 1 out of the 5 soldiers that absconded was apprehended, and the commandant, General Odili, was also in custody of the Nigerian Army. As a matter of fact, he was put on court-martial, and the processes of the court-martial was going on simultaneously when the committee was undergoing its assignment. 1 out of the 5 that was arrested confessed that they shared the money, and he returned the 50 million naira that was his own share of the money they absconded with. Up to the end of the committee's sitting, the remaining 4 soldiers were still at large. In the course of our deliberation, we made references of the powers conferred on us by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We also relied on the Armed Forces Act, Cap A2, Laws of the Federation, and of course, the memorandum we received from stakeholders. The recommendation of the committee, the final analysis to be considered by honorable members are as follows. 1, the House to direct the military authorities to fast-track the compilation of its internal disciplinary mechanism as provided for in the Armed Forces Act, Cap A2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to enable relevant authorities commence prosecution of those indicted and recover the stolen money. 2, direct the military authority and all other law enforcement agencies, particularly the police, to make public the details of the 5 soldiers alleged to have absconded, and as a matter of urgency, take steps to apprehend them and recover the stolen money, considering that these individuals are highly trained soldiers and if left unattended to, may portend grave and serious security threats to the nation. It is imperative for us to state that the commandant actually suffered a stroke at the eve of his arraignment before the court-martial. Nigerians probably who are following might have seen him attending the court-martial in in a stretcher. And for us, we thought of asking for him, but on a second thought, we felt at committee level, we might be asking for too much to bring a paralyzed person to the National Assembly. Whatever he collapses here, he might be on the head of the leadership of the National Assembly. I presented for the consideration of my honorable colleagues. Thank you very much.
Our own report before us. But I thought the report should have been more explicit. And explicit in the sense that you have confirmed to us that yes, the money was lost. An apprehension then, one person confessed and didn't return the money. But the money is coming from where? Which page? From monthly releases. Budgetary. Are they supposed to be given in cash? I thought it is not just about fast tracking into the account. So how did the money get out into the account? Investigation should have been, should address that one, at that recklessness, and then specific, so that tomorrow you don't find similar situation, and it is the same house now.
I don't understand your question. What you're expecting? I really don't understand.
The money is quite very large. $100 million, and then $86,000 is quite cash. It's quite very large. For any officer to withdraw this, what was the purpose and intendment of withdrawing that kind of money? Because
emphasis clarify here that in the course of the investigation, it was established that the man under investigation perpetrated crime. And he is a commandant, from what they said, is withdrawing this money in the name, in court, in the name of paying daily allowances to soldiers on peacekeeping. What he did was not authorized. What he did was illegal, even as confirmed by the officers. So if you ask me how he gets money, how can I answer that question? Huh? How he get money? It's a thief, Kawai. It's a thief. You can't even show.
I think my comrade colleague is not getting what the direction of the House. The direction of the House is that having found out that cash was exposed, which ab initio should not have happened, the recommendation here ought to have taken cognizance of that action, either condemning the people, either the military or the army of that division, condemn them for allowing for cash to be so released to an individual which exposed him to such action. Then further seek that such action should never be allowed. It should be in this recommendation in such a way that we'll catch it, because we are saying we should discourage cash transaction. If that is the case, even in your constituency, in our constituencies, when somebody seeks for, in the space of 1 minute, you have transferred, even if it's 10,000, to the person's account. So they should be able to do it in all institutions if we are discouraging cash transaction. That is what the chairman is trying to draw your attention, that your recommendation did not take cognizance. Just exercise patience. Exercise patience. Your recommendation did not capture it. So what we can do now is to insert that recommendation.
Thank you, Chairman. I think so that you will now collectively, respond to some of the issues. Chairman, I think the House, in the intendment of that investigation, had in mind of curing some mischief. And the idea is to ensure that it does not happen again. So I believe that the chairman would take note that there are some consequential actions that have taken place here. There is also the issue of money laundering. You can't carry more than a particular sum of money at a time. But how come that it was possible? Let us even say that the person was withdrawing it on a daily basis. Who was monitoring the dispensation? Because if you withdraw, you ought to pay the soldiers. But if it was not disbursed and he was accumulating it, I think the idea is to make sure that that does not happen again. So I think the chairman would also, I think it may be necessary to ask for further interrogation so that some of these issues are cured. First and foremost, how is it possible in the process of military operations or in an establishment that you can withdraw continuously and have an accumulation of that? And two is that you are not paying the people. Three is that eventually you carry the thing and go. There should be recommendations to the effect that this mischief should be cured and it should not happen again. I think that's the direction. Because the findings are, as a matter of, they have made the findings that these are the culprits. But there is a process problem. The process, I think, is the area they need to deal with further.
Colleagues, let me first of all appreciate the committee that you have done a good job. And if you recall, at the course of the debate of this particular motion, the allegation first, which you have now exposed, was that it was a politician that stole this money in connivance with the military. Now the truth has come out. It is not so. I'm not doing this, I'm asking for what I'm asking because we want to cover tracks for other persons. No. But that soldiers have had cause through some videos, whether true or false, I don't know, to say they are not being paid their stipends in some climb, in other areas of the same country. And we find this, I thought we should have gone a little bit, so that we now tie all the, to ensure that such thing never happen tomorrow. The first allegation was that it was a governor that took this money, an ex-governor. That was what was trending in the newspaper. You have done a good job. And I thank you for that. We all thank you. Thank you. So, you want to respond, sir?
So if you look at our findings, I invite honorable colleagues to item 4. The point is there. One is that at the time the committee was on its assignment, the court martial just began. And we don't have control over the processes on how long it will take. What we gathered from the military headquarters is that they confirmed the intent of the officer, which is to steal from the purse of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They confirmed this. They confirmed to us that the man has been arrested. Beyond this, they said they cannot give us any other information until after the court martial. And this is how far they can go. I cannot extract any other information outside. And that is why in the recommendation, we said the House should direct them to fast-track their investigation. And my understanding also of recommendation is for the House to take it or to reject it completely. I do not have anything. Yes. They like they take it, they like you throw it away. We start, no, that is the truth.
My comrade, my comrade, let's not go that way. You are an experienced legislator with a very proven record. And do not be a little bit. That we are doing this is to make the system better. And I want to beg that yes, because we are all in the process of learning and then do things the way it should be. There's nothing bad. Yesterday we sat down here, we scrutinized a report and changed even the face of what was done in the interest of our country, which I believe, with the information you have given us now, colleagues, let's be together. With the information you are giving us now, we cannot just take that recommendation. For me, I request that we now ask the committee on army and possibly defense to follow. That will be an additional work in alignment with what has been brought. That will be the completion of the job. Otherwise, we'll have been leaving something hanging that will not help us. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir. I think we have to understand that this matter is before court-martial, and court-martial is a court that is recognized. And I think we should be precluded from interfering in this matter. The court-martial is a court, and it's a creation of this parliament, so we cannot interfere in this matter as it is. Thank you, sir. When it's before the court, and we are discussing, how can we discuss something that is before the court? It's number one, sir. Recommendation one. But what you have here is, I don't know. No, the report now, back at the sheet.
Recommendation A, direct the military authority to fast track the completion of the internal disciplinary mechanism as provided for the Armed Forces Act, Cap A20 Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enable the relevant authority commence prosecution of those indicted and recover the stolen money. Recommendation B. Yes, sir.
I think there's either a typographical or spelling problem in recommendation B. I think the writers intended to say highly trained soldiers instead of highly trained soldiers. Highly trained soldiers. Second to last line of the recommendation B. Okay. Direct the military authority and all other law enforcement agencies, particularly the police, to make public the details of the 5 soldiers alleged to have absconded, and as a matter of urgency, take steps to apprehend them and recover the stolen money, considering that these individuals are highly trained soldiers, supposed to be trained soldiers. ED. ED.
That paper is corrected. It is the report that you are reading. Carried? Falake, you are raising your hand.
Mr. Chairman, sir, honorable colleagues, James Falake is my name. I want to add a 6th section to the recommendation to condemn the military zone, I don't know how they call it, where this action took place, the military division, where it took place, and of course, add another D to say that efforts should be put in place to forestall further occurrence. Efforts should be put in place to discourage cash transactions. All payments should be paid through, to the beneficiaries directly, rather than to an officer. Just
Maybe introduce it properly and then recouch it the they have complained from the poverty reporting section that members are not mentioning their names, so they are finding it difficult to report exactly what we are doing here. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, my name is James Abiodun Falike. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. I move an amendment for a C part of the recommendation to the fact that we condemn the action of the officers involved. I wanted to condemn the institution, that particular zone, for allowing this type of process to occur, and of course further say that such a situation should not be allowed to reoccur, to happen again in the future.
I second the latter part of the. My name is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of Gwajiriba Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Chairman, I second. Which name?
Chairman, it's not the two-legged motion.
No, I'm second.
It's a single amendment. Second your own, then amend. Then add another one in D.
The two-legged motion.
I will draw my second amendment.
My name is Abdurrahim Olatunji Olawi. I represent Ekiti, Repodo, Isin, Okero Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, I'm from Kwara State. I rise to second the amendment heavily moved by my brother, Honorable James Falike. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. Let's have it. Well done. D. Is this here? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyancho Shumili Federal Constituency. I move that we insert D to read that the issue of cash transaction should forthwith be discouraged. I so move.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, my name is Babangida Ibrahim. I'm representing Malamfashi Kafur Federal Conference. I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I think the chairman of this ad hoc committee has clearly stated that this issue is before the court martial. The last amendment that was done by Falake to condemn the action, I think, is premature. Because anything that is before the court of law, we don't know the outcome, the likely outcome that will come. So I want to advise that we should restrict ourselves based on the recommendation presented by, based on the reports, and allow it and wait for the outcome of the court martial.
My respected colleagues, you will have made supposed to move that we should not even consider the report, if that should be. But when we have established an action, which they have confirmed it is in our report, we are not now interfering in terms of what is going to be the disciplinary outcome of it. But based on the facts that have been placed before us, that's why we are taking this decision. I think we are doing no harm to the Constitution, and we are doing no harm to the principal act that is there to establish. I do not think so.
In addition, sir, in addition to your submission, if the committee set up to look into this thing, if they had taken cognizance of the fact that going into it will affect the fact that it's in the court, that would have been their recommendation. That would have been a recommendation. Every other thing put here, urging army to fast track. We shouldn't have gone ahead. The recommendation would have been that the case is in court. For that matter, the House should not take it. or you will not even bring it at all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My honorable colleagues, I think this matter has brought to the fore the need for us to be cautious when it comes to investigating matters of this nature. We should not